Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today we're going to show you a quick way to maximum performance improvement on an Ambassadeur 5500 C3 that its owner Dan has asked me to speed up because he's getting back into fishing. This is a beautiful reel. This is an Ambassadeur 5500 C3 2-speed fishing reel. But he says, you know, we're going to be using it casting and the like, and no matter what you do, you don't have a lot of spool speed. You can back that adjuster all the way up. Turns a little bit better, but not crazy. And he saw a couple of videos on how we improve the performance of a fishing reel using the Boca Bearings ceramic bearings. He asked me if I could go ahead and install those on his reel. And we're going to do just that. We're going to show you how to take the reel apart and a quick way to improve the performance. Now, this is going to assume that you have your fishing reel regularly serviced and you're just not happy with the casting distance and the like. There's another video in my library if you want to see the full take apart and service of this reel. I encourage you to search that. But we're going to show you in a matter of minutes how you can improve the performance of this and other Ambassadeur reels using a similar setup. Well, if you like these kinds of videos, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It's got a lot of information on there. This one we're working on today is an Ambassadeur, but tomorrow it could be a trolling reel, it could be a spinning reel, it could be a bass fishing low-profile bait caster, and full services and tips and techniques along the way. So if you like these kinds of videos, please subscribe. If you do subscribe, again, just use that notification button. It'll let you know when I'm posting. You can make a decision as to whether that's a video you want to watch. Well, you can see on this one that there's an accumulation of dust and dirt and the like on here, which says it hasn't been serviced in a while, but it's running fine. And again, the intention of this video is to show you the quick fix to improve the performance. How is that? Just pull these two screws on the side plate cover. You can remove the side plate. And even if you have your reel serviced by others, you can do this one yourself. All right, we're going to remove this spool cap tensioner. That'll allow us to remove the axle shaft. I'm just going to take this off for now, get it out of the way. Set your gear side off, and then you can order these bearings off of Boca Bearing. There's a kit number for these. It's got 2 bearings for the spool kit. I'll reference this in the description below. And if you need them, just contact them or order them on the website. And well, they're very helpful. They're very efficient. And well, best of all, they provide quality product, and they provide what they say it is that they're going to provide. Why do I say that? A lot of times folks will just take a look at a bearing and assume all bearings are the same. They're not. These are ABEC 7 rated bearings. That's about the highest you're going to get in a fishing reel bearing. These are ceramic bearings, and the 7s have a very low difference in the tolerance between the bearings. These are about as tight as you can get without being like military grade and the like. Well, if you go on the internet, you're going to find people that represent the bearings as 7s, but they may not be. You're going to find providers that don't include support, or there's no way to contact them. And they're going to find that you may not get what you pay for. And let's face it, the ceramic bearings do cost a premium. So, well, it's something you want to consider when you consider who you're ordering these bearings from. There's 2 bearings in this spool. And again, a lot of the Ambassadeur setups are similar. Just be aware that some of those have a smaller diameter inner axle shaft thread. These are the wider ones. These are 4 for the internal diameter, 10 for the exterior, 4 for the height. So 4, 10, 4. In some of these cases, they're 3 for the inner axle shaft, 3, 10, 4. You just need to make sure which one you have. So measure ahead, and again, you can order those if you like. Well, there's 2 sides on this. The first one is this side. Simply pull off the cap, and you'll see the bearing exposed here. I guess we can poke that out right now, probably. They'll usually just fall out. And the first thing you want to do, of course, is measure up, make sure that you have the right bearing. And then on this side, it's a little bit more complicated, but not terrible. Again, you can have your reels professionally serviced and still you can be able to do this project, because all it requires is a small screwdriver. I'm going to take one with a very small blade here. Look underneath here, you're going to see that there is a C-ring that's holding this brake assembly in. Find where those are separated, and then go over to the one side of that and just work your little screwdriver underneath. Now this is a clip, it's a spring, so you need to be careful with it, because, well, it can go shooting if you don't pay attention. So there we go, that's the clip. When I take my pieces and parts off, they go into a parts tray. That parts tray helps me to keep order and know where they are when it's time to reinstall. When you remove that clip, you can remove this brake assembly. Put that in the bin. And then we have the other bearing. So you can pop that one right out. I'm going to use the axle shaft for it. It's easy enough. Most of the time these will just fall out. So those are the two stainless bearings, or steel bearings, that were originally in the assembly. And this reel, well, it's not that new a reel. So if those have been fishing for some time, chances are you're going to have a performance impacted by the wear and tear on those bearings. Ceramic bearings do not wear, steel bearings do. Ceramic bearings do not corrode, steel bearings do. And well, you actually run these dry, so there's less friction, and the less friction that you have, the more you're going to be able to cast further, because it's going to have this spool speed up. And that is exactly what Dan had asked me to do, speed the spool up. You saw that we put a copper washer underneath this that came with the reel, and we put our ceramic bearing in. We go back to the parts tray, pick up the ring that has the brakes on it, and then pick up the little spring. Now when I do this, I like to find the midpoint, put the back end of this spring in to the groove like that, work one side over, tuck that in like that, and then come over to the other side and do the same. And now your assembly's back in place. So what did that take? A minute, 2 minutes maybe, to install that bearing? The back bearing is even easier. The back bearing just simply fits in the case. And then we put our click ratchet piece that just snaps in to hold the bearing in place. And then we just want to take our axle shaft. Now here's where I do allow myself a little bit of oil or grease. I'm going to put oil on this one, just a drop. Bring it through the one bearing, through the spool, onto the other side. And we can sit here and talk quite a bit of time while this thing is spinning away. You can just see how those bearings perform as opposed to the original steel ones. And that's going to make all the difference in the world when you go to cast with this. You can put a light coating of grease onto the axle shaft. Bring that over. And again, we're assuming that your reel has been serviced. I will be servicing the rest of this. And again, if you have this particular reel and you're looking for the service cues, just go to the library. They're in there, and it'll show you. But this, what we've just done here, applies to almost all the Ambassador reels in this type of a series. And well, even if you have an Ambassador reel that has a bushing and not a bearing, you can replace those bushings with these bearings, and boy, supercharge that one. All right, let's just put it back together. And one of the things I probably forgot to do is push those brakes in. These brakes have to be pushed all the way in, otherwise they're going to get trapped in the race on the back here. I guess I've been doing it long enough to know that if I don't get a nice tight seal in the seam the first time, I probably didn't do that. And tighten this down. You have a piece in here. There's a little plastic clip. 2 tags on it. It sits with the tags facing in. They're going to go onto your side plate here. That's your spool adjuster. And you should adjust your reels based on the weight of the lure or the rig that you're using. In order to prevent the backlash on these, your adjustment should be where you hold your rod straight out, and with the rod extended, what you want to do is drop the line, and if it's got the right speed adjustment to it, what will happen is that it will hit the deck or below your feet or wherever you are, and it'll stop without backlashing. Okay, with the spool adjuster cap back on, let's see how we did. It's depressed on the free spool release. Effortless. Look at that. Perfect. So again, quick fix, quick improvement, dramatic differences in terms of performance. And what you're really going to like is if you're taking this into the saltwater environment, you can rest assured that they're not going to have a performance deteriorated because of the rust or corrosion that can occur on steel-based bearings. Easy fix, not a lot of time, nice improvement. What more could you ask? Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Before I leave, I want to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, everyone involved in keeping us out of harm's way as a day-to-day vocation. I also want to thank you for watching. I want to encourage you again to subscribe. And if you do subscribe, please use that notification button. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a great day.